of my favorite actors of all time is Leonardo DiCaprio, and of course I wanted to go back and watch all his films and his filmography and watch the ones I haven't ever watched before. And one film really has stuck out as one that I've always wanted to watch but just never got to. It's a film that came out in 2000, directed by Danny Boyle, and that is The Beach. And I picked this movie up at the pawn shop because, it's the one film I do really want to watch of his filmography that just always intrigued me. This poster alone is like pretty amazing. About Leonardo DiCaprio in The Beach is what we're going to be diving into. It's celebrating its 25th anniversary, and being a 2000 film, I that era of films, late 90s, early 2000s, was right up my wheelhouse. And again, I never knew why. I never watched it growing up or anything like that. It is rated R. It's a pretty big cast and not a whole lot of familiar faces other than Leonardo DiCaprio, and Tilda Swinton also appears here as well. Of course, a couple of other actors in the film are Virginia Ladonian, and Guillermo Conte, and also Robert Carlyle, who I do recognize. Some familiar faces, a lot of unknown actors here, but a film that always has intrigued me. And we're talking about The Beach today. So if you guys have seen this movie, let me know in the comments section down below, guys, what you guys thought about this film. Give me a like, share, and subscribe. If you love talking about movies like I do, and you would like to be part of the conversation, we would love to have you join it. The Beach does follow this young kid named Richard, who is played by Leonardo DiCaprio. He's in Bangkok, and he's just wanting to kind of explore and be out and on his own. He meets two people in the same hotel, Francois and Etienne. They are French names, so I do apologize for my punctuation. They do meet them, kind of starts up a little bit of friendship there. And another roommate in the hotel is a character named Daffy, played by Richard Carlyle, and he is speaking all crazy and you can tell he's on some kind of drugs, and leaves a map for Richard here before he commits suicide in the hotel. The entire hotel is questioned, but of course the three people that have kind of bonded together, Francois, Etienne, and Richard, they all decide they're going to go up and follow this map to this mysterious beach way out on this other island here. They've come up with devised a plan to get them there. Of course, on this journey, they encountered sharks, and they've had to swim a great distance, and also they encounter some drug runners before they come across the mysterious beach, and to their surprise, a colony there of other travelers led by Tilda Swinton's character. Tilda Swinton does play a character named Sal. The Beach does have that intriguing poster that I was so mesmerized as a young man, and also Leonardo DiCaprio. So it's one that I've always, like I said, been wanting to watch until today. Danny Boyle directed this movie, and he's kind of a director that's kind of hit or miss for me. I really like a lot of the movies he's done. I love the 28 Days Later series that he started off. Steve Jobs with Michael Fassbender is another film I really enjoy. Slumdog Millionaire, regardless if you think it's overrated or not, he did a really great job with that movie. And also Trainspotting, which it's one film that I enjoy a lot of bits of it, and there's a little bit of Trainspotting in this movie, especially with Richard Carlyle's character. 127 Hours is another film too. I'm a little mid on too. But Danny Boyle has a really creative way of directing movies, and a lot of that is prevalent in here. One interesting thing about this movie that I didn't know about before going into it was Alex Garland's involvement with the movie. Now, Alex Garland is also a really great director. He directed one of our favorite films last year in Civil War, and Ex Machina is another one that's amazing. But he actually wrote the original source material for The Beach. And come to find out, and we're doing more research for this film and this review, is that Alex Garland's original story was completely different than what Danny Boyle gave us. And a lot of people, fans of the original source material, do find that this adaptation is kind of lackluster and a disappointment, quite frankly. There is some interesting stuff that Leonardo DiCaprio is able to do in this movie. He does have, of course, two romantic interests in the film with Sal and Francois, which he never had in the book, which is funny enough that they chose to go down that route. DiCaprio is mesmerizing. He's coming off of that Titanic hype, and of course he has breaking out in like this film here, in this Bangkok film. What I kind of don't like about it, though, this movie is the inner monologue the film does have. DiCaprio does do a lot of narrations and tells you what's like he's feeling in a narration, and then they show us a bunch of fun images, but I didn't think we necessarily needed that. As somebody who's never read the source material, maybe that's a lot of how the book is. But again, like I said, I've read a lot of stuff saying that it's not a truthful adaptation. The book's far superior, and this movie is a really kind of disappointment. So we'll take that as we will. I think the performance of DiCaprio is fascinating. I think he's kind of mixing a couple different psychotic performances in there. I got a little bit of like what he did in Shutter Island in there. Of course, Blood Diamonds, a film that I hadn't seen quite yet, but you can see with some of his look there is very kind of in the same realm of Blood Diamond. But again, this is still a young man, DiCaprio, so just a little like a couple years after Titanic, so he still has that young Jack face there as well. So he does a really good job with the performance, and he's not what is harming the film for me. Tilda Swinton as this leader of this colony is interesting. I think the colony as itself is interesting too. They have some kind of deal with these drug lords that are on the other side of this island, which they have like a marijuana grove. They're growing marijuana on that side of the island. And so if we leave them alone and don't invite any more people to the beach here, then, nothing's going to happen to us. So we kind of like just ignore, keep it to ourselves. And this colony does grow its own marijuana so that when they do have to, worst case scenario, have to go back to the mainland, they can trade the marijuana for money and get the products that they need to bring them back over to here. So it's kind of an interesting concept that you would think would work pretty well. But again, it just, there's a lot about it that feels very Trainspotting, especially with some of the way Danny Boyle tells his story. And it's not like, again, Trainspotting is kind of hit or miss for me. I maybe I caught that at the wrong time. It's definitely a movie that's worth a rewatch. But for me, I think Trainspotting is better as a film than this one. There's something missing with the beach, and again, it doesn't have the familiar tone. And then at the very the last 30 minutes of the movie, like, oh yeah, the drug guys are actually the drug lords on the other side are actually a bigger threat than they even let on at all. They mention them very briefly at the beginning, the first 30 minutes of the movie, and then at the very last 30-20 minutes, they're supposed to be this big intimidating presence on this island, and then that's it. Supposedly, and also researching is the book also has them being more of a fearful presence here. So wish I would have seen a little bit more of that. Overall, the movie it's entertaining enough. It does kind of end in a very interesting way, where he's using a computer, and everybody's who's been out on this colony for however long is now sufficient in computers, which it's interesting. I don't think DiCaprio's character Richard hasn't been on the island that long, but still it's kind of hard to believe a little bit. Overall, I think The Beach is a fine film. I'm glad I got it at the pawn shop. It looks good on the shelf. It's a good little piece, and something I probably would want to revisit. I'm at 2 stars for The Beach. I think it's a fine film. It's nothing that I'm gonna maybe remember a whole lot, but I will remember DiCaprio's performance. I think he's really good in this movie. And of course, I do have a ranking of all his films, and I think I've seen 20 movies at this point of his. So I have it directly at number 19, between Body of Lies at number 20 and The Great Gatsby at 18 here. So The Beach near the bottom of DiCaprio's list for me. I'm a big DiCaprio fan, so I can't see it going up any higher on rewatches there. But The Beach, a fine film for the most part. I wish it would probably stay truer to the adaptation of Alex Garland. Maybe having Alex Garland, I know he's doing some really awesome war stuff right now, but it would be interesting to see Alex Garland adapt his own work and create this and his true version of this movie, and that would be kind of fascinating, honestly. So would love to see Alex Garland do that. But have you guys watched The Beach? Let me know in the comments section down below what you guys thought about this film. It's a good little time capsule piece. Definitely feels 2000, definitely feels like that era. But again, let me know in the comments down below and we'll talk about it. See you in the next one, guys.